Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first of many Browns pregame analysis shows as Moohead Radio marks its 22nd year of Browns coverage, which morphed from the early days of the internet in the early 2000s, which was Mr. Moohead actually streaming games against the law, to that was interesting. Uh, with live chat while the game was going on, to what it is morphed into now, which is Friday is pregame analysis, Sunday, assuming we're playing on a Sunday, of course, is your halftime and your postgame shows. And people find their way to this because we've been doing it for so long, not because it's publicized anywhere. So I welcome all people who join us. And if you don't, there is just so much to choose from on the internet. I'm sure you'll find your favorite show if this isn't it, which I kind of figure based on my subscription numbers, it isn't many people's cup of tea. Hey, but I'm very accessible. That's the important thing to all this. Joining me is Brian from Phoenix, and maybe some others will jump in later in the program. Raining here in Northeast Ohio, so it held off until about an hour ago, and then all hell broke loose. So there's that. And I watched the game last night, the first half of it. I'm not crazy enough to stay up for that nonsense, but the watching the first half of the game, and then of course reading about the rest, left me with a real feeling. And it's, to me, losers make excuses. And there's always a fucking excuse for the Ravens when they lose to the Chiefs. There's always an excuse. And the excuse is they're not good enough to beat them. All right. Let's bring Michelle in here. She's trying to be repentant. All right. Hey, repentant one. Don't fuck with Mr. Moohead now. All right. But it's good seeing you. Smile. Can you hear me? Yeah. Oh, she doesn't even know. She says no. Well, you can. You're in the studio though, so
I'll be a good girl.
Okay, good.
I'll be a good girl.
I appreciate that.
I will be a good girl today.
Yep. Yep. Now, the excuses are always important for the Ravens because Lamar Jackson, who's so great, can't beat the Kansas City Chiefs. And you could put him on the field 14 different times and he'd find 14 different ways to lose, even if it's not his doing completely about the losing. But in this instance, the game started out with 4 of the first 5 plays penalties on the Ravens because the NFL was enforcing the new lineup rule for the offensive linemen. And I'll tell you, Ronnie Stanley has been doing this for so many fucking years, I can't begin to tell you. He stands back and he buys himself an extra step because he's fat, old, and he's slow. Right? So here he is. And the NFL, before the season began, said, we are going to do something about this. So please don't drop back into the backfield. You got to stand up in a straight line, and you got to play your position. Well, Ronnie Stanley comes out and play 1, play 2, play 3, play 4, and flag, 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 flag. Now, after the game, Ronnie Stanley says he was irked by the multiple penalties against him. Why, of course he was. And this is why I hate the fucking Ravens and I hate the fucking Steelers.
Well, they also got the right tackle, too.
Yep. And
for the same thing. So
it's a strategy.
And it will be interesting in tonight's game how many of those calls are also made.
Well, here's the thing. Both the Steelers and the Ravens are built the same way. They will late hit They will cheat. They'll cheap shot. They'll do whatever they can as long as they can get away with it. And the only reason the Ravens weren't getting away with it is because they were playing the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. All right? Let's be honest about it.
The Chiefs players were knocking the shit out of the Ravens players.
Yep.
Too. So they came ready to punch somebody in the fucking mouth.
Yep. And again, this goes to John Harbaugh's mindset more than anything I could have personally illustrated from my years of watching that team play. And that's, well, they called us called us for it the first time. We'll line up again and do the same thing. And it's the second time. We'll do it the third time. We'll do it a fourth time. We'll do it a fifth time. They don't give a flying fuck about rules. And by the time
he was telling the offensive line coach that, hey, move him up. Tell him to move up.
Well,
and he wouldn't fucking do it.
So. The mindset of that team is to cheat any way they can to get an edge. All right? Same thing's true with Pittsburgh. They'll always hit first, and the referees will only see the retaliation. It's been going on for decades. Now, Ronnie Stanley being irked by multiple penalties against him, he broke the rules that he was warned before the game. Shut the fuck up, Ronnie, you big fat hunk of blob. Shut the fuck up. Follow the rules, and if you're as good as people say you are, then you can do your job when you're lined up in the right position. That was the first thing that struck me. The other thing that struck me about excuses, how could anybody question the final touchdown call except the Ravens and their deluded fan base? My God, there is more evidence than Kennedy's assassination, for Christ's sake, with the bits of his brain all over his wife. The camera zooms in, and the toe cap of the guy's shoe is on the white line. There's no green. There's no like a blending, where the line begins. His foot was over the line. It's incomplete. And I'm not saying this because I wanted them to lose, but I did. I wanted them to lose because they're in last place Ravens. But it's amazing how players can get upset. And Lamar Jackson shaking his head about it. He doesn't believe that the officials should have overturned.
But before that play, he missed a wide open Flowers by like a yard and a half.
Yep.
So he's got nobody to blame but himself.
Well, I mean, in the end, that's the way it works. And, my feeling is this. Lamar Jackson thinks the officials should have overturned the call because he's on the Ravens. And if it were against the Browns, they would have overturned the call because he's used to getting this shit in his division. And that's just the entitlement of this football league. So it really makes me ill. I thought it was a touchdown, Jackson said. I still think it's a touchdown. I'm going to triple down on it. I know it was a touchdown. But what I do know is this. If you look at the statistics from the game and you look at the performance of the players and you take a look at Lamar Jackson, this is the story of him. It is what he does. There's nothing you can singularly point to say, well, he did this to fuck up the game. He was 26 of 41 for 273 yards. On the surface, that's good. But only one TD. And if you take a look at where his passes were going to, Justice Hill had 6 catches. Zay Flowers had 6 for 37 yards. He went with his tight end, Isaiah Likely, who had 9 receptions for 111 yards. But
that kid had a hell of a game because he also had some huge blocks in the running game too.
Yep, big guy, got some good hands on him, and third-year player. That's 9 receptions and 12 targets. Rashad Bateman only had 2 receptions for 53 yards. You see, the thing is, what I noticed about the Ravens and the way that they were playing is the way that they always play. For all the talks about, what he's going to do is he's going to audible his way out of these plays. Every time he audibled out of a play, when he saw pressure coming from his left side, he'd run the ball himself to the right side. Now, he's a quarterback, but he thinks he's a running back. And when he goes back to pass and the pocket collapses, he fumbles the ball. He gets hit. He's waving it around like a baton.
Oh, by the way, he's also lost. It looked like he lost about 15 pounds. So
he has. He wanted to run more.
The durability is going to come into play.
And
by at least game 12.
There's nothing better than, watching their running back. I mean, I'm sitting there saying to myself, I thought you brought, Derrick Henry into the fold so he'd be a battering ram. 13 carries, 46 yards. Oh, to do da day. And he was barely in the game. But in the back end of the second quarter and the second half, he got no action whatsoever. When the quarterback carries the ball 3 more times than your designated running back, it isn't a good thing. But who's calling the plays? And Derrick Henry is notoriously a running back who, if you don't block for him up front, he can get trapped in the backfield because until he builds up a head of steam, once he builds up a head of steam, he's hard to bring down. Still, he's 29 years old. He's gotten to a point where he's no kid. But the offensive line for the Ravens wasn't really any good. And that's the other thing I take away from this.
Well, to be truthful, the Chiefs' defensive line, I think, is a little bit underrated too. So they were taking advantage of Falele and the other new player on the line, and really making a lot of disruptive backfield tackles. And that's why I don't think they relied on Derrick Henry that much in the second half.
Yeah. Well, they look to me, Michelle, why are you popping in and out?
Because I just finally got my headphones or earphones or earbuds, whatever the hell you want to call this, because I'm 1,000 years old and I don't know technology, and trying to get this to connect was not okay. So I'm sorry.
It's okay. That's all right. That's all right.
I am just not smart technologically.
Well,
I know sports, I know music, I don't know anything else.
Yeah, I'm notoriously, I'm starting to mess around with AI music and stuff like that. So I force it on myself just to try to keep my brain nimble. By the way, I wanted to point something out before it's too late. I was having an internet issue, and the video on this program, and I know this is not a well-lit room like I would have in Florida, but
well-lit room. I love the reference.
Yeah, romantic. This is a romantic place. In Florida, it's like blaring lights behind me. But it looked hazy and it didn't look defined. And then I realized that my Ethernet cable was like wanting to fall out of the router, and it was like, nah.
Was the puppy chewing on it?
Put in a new cable. Now I'm bang up to 950. The Mbps download and 40 upload, and so now you're getting Mr. Moohead in the proper resolution.
Very
I
cutesy,
apologize.
very demure, very mindful, as the kids would say.
I apologize. But at any rate, the things that I took away from the game is that the Ravens were in last place.
The Ravens lost. That's what's up. That's the best part of it all. Like, you know what? When what's his face was like, oh, maybe wear white cleats next time. Like, you know what? Okay. And I couldn't even say anything nasty on social media because I was like, that's just going to be bad luck for the Browns on Sunday. So I'm just going to shut up. I'm going to let them lose. And we will gain first place in 3 days. And that's all that matters.
Well, here's the thing that bothers the hell out of me. Patrick Mahomes, who's a good quarterback,
he's all right.
Always has weapons. You notice?
He's all right.
Doesn't matter where his receivers go, there are new ones, and they always draft the new ones. So
he's what Johnny Manziel could have been.
Johnny Manziel was a drunken drug addict. That was the problem with Johnny Manziel. But Worthy, this new fella, the rookie that they got, Xavier Worthy, he looked like he was shot out of a cannon on that one pass. I mean, my goodness. He's ran a 4.21. 4.21.
Yeah, it helped that Humphrey decided to pass off to Ghostman and center field.
Yeah, I mean, but you saw the crease, and he just ran through it like he was shot out of a cannon. Oh, on the end
around? Yes.
Oh, yes. My God. I mean, that guy is super fast. But Rashee Rice ends up having over 100 yards in receptions. They just always have somebody who takes over. And it just makes me feel so barren, okay? I feel as barren
as Michelle.
No, as barren as J.D. Vance sees women. I mean, Democratic women. I mean, barren. I'm more barren than Trump's son, barren. Okay, let's be honest.
If J.D. Vance saw us as barren, he wouldn't ban abortions and school shootings. So, but whatever.
Are you more barren than a Red Baron pizza?
A what?
That's the wrong. Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
That's. And when I think of the Red Baron, I think of Snoopy. So I guess we're like 3 different generations of comprehension.
It's funny when I go to the grocery store and I see those pizzas that are rising crust. You know what I think of?
No.
Christ rising.
No, you don't, because you don't believe in him.
No, but I mean, it's like, it's all in the marketing. This is, you see, they're trying to trick you, folks. They're like, oh my God, it's a blessed pizza. Look, the crust is rising. Yeah. And it's like, I see people across the country when the pizza's done cooking and they'll go, crust has risen.
Christ has risen. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Whatever.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. 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 Yeah.
Now, for the Browns, we knew it was coming. It was just a matter of time. David Bell has been waived. It's like, or seal of approval. It's like, it's damn well about time. But
what do you think about the kicker getting kicked?
About kicker what?
Getting kicked. Like, now what are we going to do? Like, who do we have? Like, I don't even know.
I don't know what the full story is. They played it down that he didn't practice the one day, but there was no listing. Was he on an injury report?
No, not even. He was in full practice, and then all of a sudden he's gone. Like, I don't get it. And then they get all this cap money, and they got trades, they got this, and they got that. Like, who gets a 7th round pick for a kicker in the draft? It's just kind of insane and kind of weird.
Well, I don't know, but I've heard that Hopkins is ready to go and ready to kick. I didn't see him on any injury list, but there was one day that he was not practicing. Now, David Bell, when he was told that he was waived, I understand he was hurt
I hope he
again.
blew the place up.
Again. All he's
Again?
been is hurt since he got here.
Really?
I mean, my God, he makes Johnny Cash hurt, 9 Inch Nails hurt. My God, this guy's hurt more than Little Anthony and the Imperials. This guy
Just
is
to
hurt.
let myself feel.
Yeah,
God
exactly.
dang.
Yeah. And David Bell, 7 yards downfield, catch, fall down. I mean, and this is what I'm tying into. I watch Kansas City, and they always have these new receivers. Where are our receivers? New receivers. When are we ever going to draft one? It's really annoying to me. And that's another third-round pick to go with Anthony Schwartz. That the same people are picking these slow, oft-injured, not big, but tiny, small, slow guys, or tiny, fast guys who were track people in college and can't catch footballs. I don't get it. So at any rate, he's gone, and we don't have to deal with that.
Dang.
So,
And you think that they're just trying to back it up with running backs like Nick because he's coming back, or do you think that they're just trying to just be lazy and cheap?
well, he's 4 weeks out, man. You're not going to see Chubb until doomsday.
No matter what, he is not playing a full season.
Rick May, you're right, especially Jalen. All right. The Steelers, Russell Wilson, by the way, is limited in practice due to calf tightness. I didn't know he owned a cow.
It's the BCOD, and put it on the Steelers all day.
Yeah, the only thing he'd know about the only thing Russell Wilson would know about calf tightness is when he enters from behind. I mean, please.
That's when he rolls up to Penn State to go to the creamery.
Well,
That's, you know what? You're in the country now, honey. Now you don't even know. Oh my gosh, we got them. That we're just gonna crush them. That's why they don't put us first week with them anymore.
Well, this is Russell Simpson we're talking about, so I'm sure he's much more.
Simpson? What you said?
Russell Simpson, he called him. Da, 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 da,
yes,
don't.
Oh, sure, I'll take care of my
I mean, I know I'm just a girl.
And her fucking baby daddy. That's a simp. That's a world.
I mean, I know I'm just a girl, but I know that's not his name, and he's actually a real man who did some real man stuff. But the day he became
back on track here. So Russell Wilson says, something? It wasn't bothering me, but now it's bothering me. The closer it got to the season, the more it started. Oh, it stopped bothering me. But then when I realized, oh my God, I actually beat Justin Fields out for the job, it's hurting again.
When I realized I had to play behind this offensive line and throw receivers, it really started to hurt me.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's true. Russell Wilson.
But I really love Russell Wilson. I love him as a person, and it's hard when you love somebody as a person,
35.
and you have to hate him as a player. He's a good dude. He's a good dude.
You know what he is? He is basically a 35-year-old in Aaron Rodgers' present body. So it's not
Wait,
good.
how old is Aaron Rodgers? He
41,
can't be much older.
41.
Wait, what?
Yeah, 41 years old. Yeah.
Holy
Yeah. At least that's what he says the Illuminati are saying. I don't know. But yeah, Russell Wilson.
And I'm
not
58.
even sure he's going to start. Not sure he's going to start.
Really?
So, yeah.
Well, who's going to start? So who's our QB2 even?
Winston?
No, he's got to be QB1 now because Deshaun's out. So who's QB2?
Let me look.
Oh. A chick knows so
DTR.
much about sports.
Yeah, there we go. I'm
Dorian
just
Thompson Robinson, I think, is the
We're
second QB.
we're screwed. Because
yeah.
if they take him out the way that Ohio State took out Penn State's quarterback last weekend,
Akron.
which was unacceptable. Yeah. Or Akron, sorry. Thank you. It was really unacceptable, and I don't know why they kept carrying on the way they did because he was definitely hurt before the half and definitely shouldn't have entered the second half. But Finley, the quarterback for Akron,
Well, that
never
other
should have
kid
kept carrying
wasn't.
on. But
The other kid
if they
wasn't able
do
to
that,
complete a pass,
yeah,
so they didn't really
it
have much
didn't
of a
matter.
choice.
It didn't matter. They destroyed that boy, and he's probably really not okay. And it was.
Well, at any rate,
I don't want to see. I don't want to see anybody get hurt. I'm. Oh,
I'll tell you what I want to see.
I'm old enough that I don't want to see anybody get hurt anymore, like I did in the '80s.
Well, I want to see.
Like
I want to see the Cleveland Browns hammer the Dallas Cowboys, and I
do
know
too.
there's a way that it can be done, and this is not so subtle. Okay,
It's
because
gonna have to be
nothing about
defensive.
Mr. Moohead is subtle, but what we do is we have Andrew Siciliano beat them to death with his ears.
Why are you so mean to this guy? Why
Just-
have you been picking on him the whole time that he's been
Just
By the
announced
way,
as to be nice? You know what? There's a thing where they say if you can't fix something in 30 seconds or less, you can't make fun of it. If you can't fix your shirt, can't fix your legs.
he can't use
you can't-
earbuds.
Yeah. Well, you can't pick on somebody for something they can't fix. Okay?
See what I wear? You see what
He's
I
the
wear?
only-
He couldn't wear these either because he'd be sticking out
it.
like this, you know?
Joe, you
No.
are gnarly. You're so mean.
No, actually, I have nothing
Be
against
nice.
Andrew Siciliano. The fact of
he's
the matter
only
is,
broadcaster that gets his own runway clearance at the Cleveland Muni fucking airport.
No, be nice.
but they
People
wanted an
can't
emotional
help
guy.
the fact that they look like the way they do, and look at me. I mean, God, I'm disgusting. Look at me.
I'm not going to
okay?
argue with you, but
Okay, I know. Why would
no, I'm glad for Andrew Siciliano because it's an opportunity to call the play-by-play and in his emotional style. It will be fun for him to do that. We
he's
all
been
wish
a
Jim
good-
Donovan the best.
Yes, absolutely. He has been a voice. We grew up with Nev and Casey, and we, deserve a voice that appreciates our history, and he gets it, and he's done a really good job before. So I'm not going to hate on him whatsoever, but you got to stop being mean to him because he looks like Here's George. Okay, it's not his fault, and you gotta
No,
not say
I'm
those
not. I mean, look
things.
at me. I have a face for radio. I'm not. All right, now
You got a face for radio and a voice for radio, and you're my
that's it.
everything.
Now, Mary Kay Cabbagehead has made a 2024 prediction.
Wait, she still has a job?
Her prediction is that the Browns
Hold
will go
on, she
11
still
and
has
6.
a job? Holy shit.
11 and 6. However, what she's saying is, but I can't guarantee that that's going to make the playoffs. And it's like, then why are you making predictions before the first game of the season? Just make it stop. And when I do these pregame analysis shows, which we're really going to pick up on right now, I looked around and said, almost every source of prognostication is picking the Cowboys to defeat the Browns. I mean, from Bleacher Report They say it's going to be 20-19.
Your battery's going to be dead.
And ESPN is basically saying let's see, that Cowboys, according to Collar, Moody, and they're going to beat the Browns 30-21, 24-21. One guy picked the Browns to win 28-24. All right.
Those are such weird numbers too.
Yeah, it's and then there's CBS Sports, and they're saying the Cowboys 27-24 over the Browns. And then there's Pro Football Talk, PFT, that says, Florio says Cowboys 28-24. Sim says, the Browns 20-17. Well, you never know. But here's what I think about this game. I'm looking at the Dallas Cowboys knowing that Dak Prescott threw for 4,500 yards last year, and 1,700 of the almost 40% of the yardage was CD Lamb. All right. So there are some real simple things about this game. They don't have a running back. That's why they brought Ezekiel Elliott back from New England. And
my boy.
Yeah, he averaged 3.5 yards per carry for the New England Patriots. And honestly, they don't have a running game. All right. And the passing game that they have is CeeDee Lamb, CeeDee Lamb, CeeDee Lamb, and CeeDee Lamb. I mean, here's how the Browns can win or lose. The receivers who can hurt the Browns, Brandon Cooks, who is a little gimpy, CeeDee Lamb, who will flat out beat you if you let him. But the guy to look out for is the tight end, Jay Ferguson. There's a guy who is the other guy who he finds when he needs somebody. That was about a good 761 yards last season. But CeeDee Lamb at 1,749 yards. I mean, it is really lopsided. Brandon Cooks had 657 yards, and below that, it's just not a whole hell of a lot of anything. The running backs of this team are not good. All right, they don't have the rushing game. Pollard last year gained 1,005 yards, but only 4 yards a carry. Dowdle, who is now the running back, who is going to be back and forth with Ezekiel Elliott, averaged 4.1 yards per carry and only 361 total yards. Dak Prescott has then run for 242 yards. So the way the Browns can win is to figure out a way to follow CeeDee Lamb all over the goddamn field. And if you're going to get beat by a slow tight end who isn't going to break it for a big gain. And that way you don't give up quick points, because with CeeDee Lamb, he had a long last year of 92-yard reception. I mean, this guy averages 103 yards per game in receptions, and you can't let him beat you.
Thing. You gotta have defense all the way. Defense scoring, defense playing, defense just destroying everybody that's on the field. I don't care if it's the quarterback. I don't care if it's I don't care if it's a tight end. I don't care if it's a running back. I don't care if it's a wide receiver. You gotta have your defense on the friggin' game, because sometimes your offense is going to fail, and guess what? Our offense is. So I need my defense to show up and show out. I need pick sixes. I need turnovers. I need all the turnovers in the universe, and that's exactly how they're going to do it.
The way the Browns have to win, if they're going to win, they got to find a way to get yards on the ground.
Yep.
Because you got to shorten the game, and you got to figure out a way to move the ball so you're not putting an undue amount of pressure on the quarterback from and I don't mean a personal perspective, but I mean a pass rush, because the word out of Cleveland is that they're not sure if James Hudson III is going to be playing left tackle. They don't know if Conklin's going to be able to switch over there, or if they might be rotating because both of them are not completely healthy. That Jed Wills keeps, every time they say, hey, Jed Wills might play, Jed Wills says, I ain't going to play. And, I don't get what's going on. But if they are unable to protect Deshaun Watson, it doesn't matter. They have to run the football. The only way it's the only way that they have a chance to win the football game, because if it gets to a point where our running backs are stoned at the line of scrimmage, then we're screwed, because they're going to know we're going to pass. Micah Parsons is going to have a field day, and knowing that we're weak on the left side isn't going to help things at all. So it's a pretty simple thing. Defensively, we have to do what we can do to try to get them off the field. And I don't mean 3 and outs, because the odds are, especially in the beginning of the year, Dallas is a better football team than they end up the year. That is consistently the case with the Dallas Cowboys. So you got to get them off the field. You're not going to end up winning a battle of field position that way, but you've got to keep the game close. The other thing that Deshaun Watson has to do is he has to use all of his receivers. And the question is whether these guys have the capacity in this offensive scheme to get open. I don't have faith in Elijah Moore. I actually have a little more belief this year about Cedric Tillman than I did last year. He's a year older, year wiser, maybe has a better understanding of what he needs to do at the professional level. You got Amari Cooper, who I'm afraid isn't going to get up every time he gets tackled.
I love him so much. I want him to do so well. Like, he's supposed to be everything.
And you got to throw the ball to the running backs and get 7-8 yards and get yourself into some 2nd and 2s. So then you can throw them off balance, whether you're going to run, whether you're going to pass. And you can't be 48 passes for Deshaun Watson. It isn't going to work that way. It's going to be a challenge for the Browns, and any way you look at it. And yes, it's a home game. But and by the way, if you're interested in watching the game, it's being shown all over the country. I mean, this is the major game. Oh, where did your volume go, Brian? Oh man, your volume.
Where did my volume go?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is
wow.
It now?
Yeah, it's not. I'm trying to. I talk now.
Well, what I was saying was that game is actually going to be on in my area.
Yeah. It's all just in a few random places where the other games being played.
Mainly because of the Sow Girls.
Because of who?
The
Sow Girls. I don't call them the Cowboys. That? I call them the Sow Girls.
Oh, are you in the Texas area?
No, but we get every Dallas Cardinals fucking game was basically a home game for the Sow Girls.
Now,
they're not even rivals. That's so weird.
Let's see. I'm just.
I gotta tell you, Moo. Okay. So, like, I gotta say, like, this is gonna have to be a defensive game. There's no way that our offense is gonna do crap, and it's gonna be like what we did. Yeah, I shouldn't say the words, but it's like what Ohio State did last week, and it was super offensive, but now it has to be super defensive because our offense is shit. And
I'm not ready to say I'm not ready to say that the offense is shit. Hold on.
I believe more in Myles Garrett than I do any of my quarterbacks.
Are you hearing me talk?
Yes.
Okay, just
And I
making
love
sure.
it. I love hearing you talk.
But Keith is
But I
saying,
don't believe in my offense whatsoever.
all right, but I'm not willing to give up on the offense before I've seen them in a regular season game because nobody looked good in the preseason. The thing is, and Keith is
Oh, they
saying
look
that Brennan
good.
was
They
a,
look good.
receiver who's a possession receiver, and like
Yeah.
Brian Brennan or Juravicious, but those people are so
Oh,
past us.
oh my gosh.
They'd be too slow to play in the NFL today, Keith. The bottom line is you could be a great route runner and slow and not make it in the NFL today.
Brian
You know,
Brennan. Oh my gosh. You just
and,
made me
and
like
believe me,
tear up.
with the exception of one play last year, Bell, and it was only because of an absolutely busted coverage that he got yards after catch. He's not an NFL receiver, and nobody is going to jump on his bandwagon.
That's the
Um,
sad part. That sucks to get to that level, but like not like be able to compete. That sucks. And I feel bad for him, but like you got to be able to step up. And that's why I took Junior out of all of his sports. Like if you can't compete at that level, don't even try. And it sucks watching guys get cut, and it sucks watching them get cut in training camp. It sucks watching them get cut out of the roster, whether it's baseball or football. But if you can't do what you're supposed to do, and it's the one thing you're supposed to do, then it's better for you to not be there than to get hurt.
well, here's what my concern is. For the Browns passing game, the only way to be successful is to spread it around. And, this is not, if you're waiting for Amari Cooper to have an 140-yard game, that's not likely to happen because the defense, who is missing their leading mano a mano guy, all right, I think his last name is Brand. Is that correct? Either Brand or Bland. I forget, but he's their top coverage guy. He's out for the first like 4 to 6 weeks of the season. So we got to find who the weak link is out there, but we've got to just continually. You got to use Njoku. You got to use Amari. You got to use Elijah Moore. You got to use Tillman. You got to get these people in and out running the plays, and you got to get Deshaun Watson comfortable throwing to a bunch of receivers as opposed to just being comfortable with one or two of them. And it's going to require an understanding of whatever this offensive scheme is, because none of us have seen it. Nobody has seen it because it was not shown in the preseason. So we're going to find out very quickly if Watson has time to throw the ball and if he is on the same page as his receivers. If he is not on the same page of his receivers, I blame the offensive coordinator. There is no excuse at this point in time for people not to understand the offense. And if they don't understand it, it will become obvious. So that's, and because everyone's going to blame Deshaun Watson. But the fact of the matter is, you've got to have options, and we will see if Deshaun Watson is able to see the field properly. Because if there are people open, Tom Brady will point it out in the broadcast. Believe me, if there are people streaking across the field open and Deshaun isn't seeing them, we're going to know about that. But I'm not going to make any judgments prior to.
Come on, Moo.
Tom Brady.
Edelman will point it out, and so will freaking the Mannings, and so will Pat McAfee. Okay? Like, we need a quarterback that can actually throw the ball, and we had it for the last few weeks last year. Okay? We don't have that right now. We have a crap shoot of a quarterback, and it sucks. And we have great receivers. We have great backs. We have so much talent in the back. All right. But we don't have anybody that can throw.
Well, Joe
And
Flacco, let me remind you, through an
Joe
interception, at least one interception in every game that he
one
played, Joe
interception,
Flacco
whatever.
had a
I
very
don't.
emotional,
He
fun
also got us
year,
to the playoffs.
but he ran us into the ground the most important time of the season. Nobody wanted him as a starting quarterback before we picked him up or after we didn't pick him up. He isn't going to start for anybody, and
No, he retired.
he is
No, he's
no,
in
he's
Indianapolis.
backing up in Indianapolis. That's where he is. He's a backup behind Richardson. Yeah, so you can hope that Richardson gets hurt, so you can cheer.
I'm not going to hope for anybody to get hurt. That's not. My
It was a
style.
wonderful story, but Joe Flacco was Joe Flacco, except he's 41 years old now, and he ended up throwing the game away against Houston, and he was forcing balls in. And I understand.
Part of that was on the coaching staff for not adjusting anything that they were doing going into that game.
Well,
just because they beat the Texans the last time. Oh, we don't need to make any changes. So on the defensive side, they got exposed, and then on the offensive side, they got exposed. So I blame those two assholes more than I blame Joe Flacco.
Speak up, Bronk.
When we beat Houston the first time, they were playing Case Keenum. They weren't playing Stroud. Yes, and the thing about Tom Brady is that I think he's going to be about as successful in the booth as Paul Warfield was when he tried to do the sports on Channel 8 and was absolutely frozen. I think he's going to fucking bomb big time.
I don't think that. I think that he's one of these people who just will be at it and at it and at it. He's probably had so much coaching. I mean, he can afford
that. He can afford to spend money on fucking Birmingham City in the first league of the English Football League. A third division team. He can afford to spend money on that shit. So yeah, he's anyway. The reason why I came on was that game last night or this morning was egregious from the referee's point of view against the Baltimore Ravens. Are we going to get the same shit happen to us? Is every call going to go in favor of the fucking Dallas Cowboys because it's an international game? Because the entire world has this game.
You already know it will.
It's the Ravens got fucked last night.
You already know it will.
But they deserve it.
Well, I'm not saying
they deserve to be fucked in every aperture and bleed from them.
They did, but fucking
they've gotten away with murder through the years. And one of their players in the Hall of Fame did get away with murder.
Yes, put that knife down,
Ray Lewis, motherfucker. I'll say his fucking name. Fuck you.
Oh, speaking of which, there's a great photo.
Hi, Mommy.
From Ahmad Rashad's wedding that shows Bill Cosby and O.J. Simpson flanking Ahmad Rashad. You gotta look it up on the internet.
Oh my gosh!
Fucking awesome photo.
Boy, that's something you keep in the old family album, isn't it?
It's like a worse collection than the Moohead collection than the Moohead panelists.
You are so random, Bronk. Oh my gosh, Mark.
We're gonna get an opportunity. For each of our panelists to predict the final score of the game, and we will start with Michelle. What is your prediction?
No, I'm not going to give a prediction because my dad always said if I didn't have bad luck, I wouldn't have any luck. So I'm not going to put that out there.
Born under a bad
That way we can win. That way we can win. But 48-17.
48-17. You're not serious. All right. Bronk, you're next.
Browns 27, Dallas 13, because I think we're going to fuck them in the asshole. and the refs are going to try to fuck us, but we're still going to fuck them in the asshole. Dallas isn't that good.
You want to hear something funny? I work at beat-ups now because I'm, loser, and I have to work for a living. I'm going to wear a Buckeyes shirt tomorrow, and I'm going to wear a Brown shirt on Sunday. And they literally didn't schedule me for the Browns game because they knew that I would be a menace.
You a menace? Wow.
Yeah, they were like, we
stop
We got
hijacking the
sidetracked.
program. Brian,
Brian,
you get to
Mark.
pick the
Mark,
game.
Mark.
Bonrick, stop it, Bonrick.
My score is going to be the opposite of Bronx. I think it's going to be Dallas 20, Browns 13.
Well, there you go, Brian.
So.
Yep. And
how are the Panthers going to do tomorrow or Sunday or whatever?
Oh my God, it's going to be like 34-3.
They're going to win that easily?
No. The Saints are going to win that easily.
Ah, okay.
Saints aren't that good either.
Mr. Moohead's prediction is not predicated on any reality because
on any knowledge whatsoever.
None of us have seen this team, the Browns, play. We haven't.
No, they are Schrodinger's team. Schrodinger's team. We don't know what they got till we open the box.
Yeah. So, and Big Lurker UK's in here with us. And he's saying the Cowboys will win 24-13. DJ Brobot is wow. He's
I love that.
Give me some of what he's taken. Rick May says Browns 21-17.
Double reverse.
Yeah. Did somebody say double reverse? If the game is as low scoring as the Cowboys scoring 17 points, the Browns will win. And
definitely.
The only predictions I'm going to make are that the Browns will win. All right. And that Watson will throw 3 touchdown passes. That is my prediction. Now, I don't know in what context this will happen because if our defense can hold them to 17 points, we're going to win that football game. I'm not sure that our defense can do that, but we're gonna find out. And the over under for the game, I understand 41. Ams.
That is low.
That is low.
That is low.
Now the weather is supposed to get better, isn't it? Because right now, rain came in and it was like God was urinating all over Northeast.
Wow, you were having a golden shower from above.
Thank you. That's true.
Wow, that's like a Russian hotel. You go to Moscow and get that.
That's what Mr. Trump did, from what I've heard.
Be sure to film, allegedly.
Yeah. Now, I got to look up the weather for our general area.
I don't think it's a hot game because my thing about the first game of the season when it's 90 degrees out and our offensive line decides to have a sleep. I don't think it's going to be hot, which is good.
And I'm going to look at not tomorrow, but Sunday's weather.
Sunday.
Partly sunny and breezy in the afternoon. A high of 67, a low of 45.
Fine. Oh, that's beautiful. That's Browns weather.
Yeah, and so the fact that it's breezy could affect the kicking. Just saying. Yeah.
We got
We just gotta look at the flag. Look at the flag. Always look at the flag and see where it's going.
Something? One thing I always learned, and that's when I was in the stadium, I would always take a look, and I could tell that the wind wasn't blowing if I saw a limp flag.
Mark.
I'm sorry. I didn't. I'm in hell. Tomorrow, by the way, the weather is a high of 60 and a low of 42. I'm going to be freezing my dong off.
Take me with you.
What does John Madden think about this game coming up? You haven't done him for a while.
John Madden? What does he think of this game?
Man.
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady's going to be the...
Taking his job.
He's going to point this way and that way, this way.
Basically, Tom Brady is taking John Madden's job. If John Madden was still alive,
Tom Brady never even fucking played Monday Night Football under John Madden. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
He went into the draft when I graduated high school. He's a fucking piece of shit. Oh,
we can all agree on that.
And Keith, that's what I was talking about earlier in the show. How Cleveland will be able to run the football. that is the thing, because if we keep giving the ball back to the Cowboys in short possessions, they're going to hit us. They're going to hit us with CeeDee Lamb. They're going to hit us. We've got to be able to use up some clock, and I don't have the answer to that question either. But I think there's going to be a lot more Kevin Stefanski tight end utilization, short passing game than what the Ken Dorsey offense would be calling for. I think you're going to see Stefanski ball. One thing that I thought was interesting before I get out of here, it was a quote by Joel Bitonio. When Bitonio is a real straightforward.
People listen.
He's not even
stand-up guy. And he was asked, what, to expect from this Ken Dorsey offense. And he said, well, you're talking to the wrong guy. He goes, because we still believe that we're the fighting Stefanskis. That's a quote.
Wow, the fighting Stefanskis.
The fighting Stefanskis.
That's the thing.
So the offensive line is really bought into Kevin Stefanski. And it'll be very interesting to me to see what this offense looks like, because I have a feeling with him calling the plays, it's going to resort back to tight end utilization, short passes to running backs out of the backfield, and doing what you can to try to control clock. Because I just don't see, the downfield weapons for this team. I see if you can somehow stretch the field vertically with passing game, then you can hit some things over the middle with Njoku. But my mind won't get around the fact that Stefanski is calling the plays, and Bitonio, who's the leader of the offensive line, made that comment. The fighting Stefanskis.
Wow.
And
so can we like imagine that that's what the quarterback, whoever it is it was what he needs to like focus on the running backs and the wide receivers and making those long passes and making those plays that, like, we love Nick Chubb. I love Nick Chubb. But like they're gonna be looking for him like they look for Eric Metcalf. They're gonna be stopping him. They're gonna be just Eric Metcalf.
Well,
right. So they're going to be looking for that. So we got to make those down passes.
Well, Stefanski is a guy who uses the deep ball as a changeup. In other words, he will narrow the field down and try to surprise you and try to catch you that way. No, the name of the stadium is Huntington's Disease Stadium.
Oh, you're stupid.
That's shaky, man. That is shaky. That's on shaky foundations.
And the funny part of it is they have a part of the stadium that's dedicated to Woody Guthrie. Look, I don't expect anybody to. I don't expect anybody to understand.
Sing a song now, right now. Sing a song now, right now. Sing a Woody Guthrie song.
This land is your land. This land is my land. From California.
There you go.
It's good enough.
What about Alice's Restaurant? Or was that? Oh, that was Arlo.
That's Arlo.
That was Arlo.
That's his song.
Good night, America. How
are you? Oh, I miss you guys so much.
I
No.
just hope we don't get fucked by the refs. That's really.
We will.
A panelist question: who is going to be the first Browns to have the season-ending injury in the first half? It happens every fucking year. Who's it going to be? Every fucking
It'll be
year.
Watson.
Season-ending injury.
And then we're going to be.
Well, I say it'll be an offensive lineman who gets carted off the field first.
That's what I'm thinking. Probably.
Oh, don't say that.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Well, the fact of the matter is, Keith, I'm not a big fan either, but Stefanski has done better than his predecessors. And
he won Coach of the Year, goddamn it.
And he is in control as the coach of this team. He sold everybody on himself to the front office, to the ownership. And if he feels the necessity to call the plays and feels the necessity to play his brand of football, he overrules Ken Dorsey, and he made that absolutely clear.
You know who's also in control? Al Haig when Reagan got shot. He was in
absolutely.
control. It's the same sort of thing, isn't it? I am in control here at the White House.
Oh, we're doing
Stefanski is
this
Al
now.
Haig.
We're doing this now, Bronk.
Yeah.
My name right.
Is Conklin coming back too soon? Look, from what I'm hearing, Conklin is going to be shuttling in and out of the game with James Hudson III.
Oh, are they going to get one of those golf carts to like carry him off and on again?
No, but the beauty of it all is that you'll be able to distinguish the two men because James Hudson III will be the one like this.
Hooray!
And the fact that he's still out there is wild.
The third. He's
Thank you, Keith. Every year, Keith, is an anniversary because we've been doing this for so long.
Every day is an anniversary. God
yep.
Damn.
Every year is a souvenir. Watch Kareem Hunt will be back for round 3. Well,
probably, it's happened before.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, any quick thoughts on Jamar Chase? I'm being asked.
What's he done?
No, it's really bizarre. He said the comments on the press was he wanted to make a penny more than his rival receiver Jefferson, the Vikings receiver.
Oh God.
But he said, I want to make a whole lot more than 1 penny more. He can't get the deal done because Mike Brown is Mike Brown.
Yeah.
And he said he is considering playing without a contract. What a fool.
You can't do that. I don't think the
union
will let him do that.
Well, the team will no longer be responsible if he gets hurt.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So if he's that stupid, bring it on. He's a Bengal. Bring it on. Yeah. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Jamar Chase. He's not making any sense. And I'll tell you honestly, if he'll be out there playing one way or another, he'll be out there playing. I just can't believe that they're going to leave the formerly injured and future injured Joe Burrow out there without Jamar Chase. Yeah, I mean, that just,
Burrow's going to get killed in September.
No, they need a quarterback before they have a committee, David. They need a quarterback, and they've got 2, and then neither one of them qualify. I don't see Hunt coming back here either, Keith.
No.
I gotta tell you, as an AFC Central girl,
thank you, Ams,
for my entire life, I always loved the haterade that we had with the Bengals, but we consider them Kentucky. They're not ours. But I don't want to see anybody get hurt. I'm too old. I don't want to see anybody get hurt.
Well, that's what football is. And before we get out of here, Keith says, has coaching been the difference for the winning? And the answer is, well,
wow.
If you're in a close game with the Pittsburgh Steelers, it isn't just Kevin Stefanski. It's most coaches lose.
Correct.
If you get ahead of them, they've got nothing to come back at you with. Yeah. So, it's kind of like, it was like the boxer Jimmy Young. If Jimmy Young got you into the late rounds and lulled you to sleep, he'd win to sleepy decisions against you. That is the type. Yeah. They'll grind you. The Steelers will grind you in a close game and come up with a play. That's been the history. I got to get out of here. It's after 6 o'clock.
DJ Brobot's making a very good point. It's almost worse than being a Moohead panelist. Like every Browns announcer fucking has a horrible illness. It's just, you don't wish that on Siciliano. Although he does look like Danger Mouse. You've ever seen Danger Mouse?
Well, they got to check him for ear mites.
Exactly.
Oh my
Are they going to pair him up
Lanta.
with Banana Man?
Yeah, correct.
No, thank you for letting me back on the show, and thank you for understanding that I have understood that this show is taking a different turn, and my
Yeah, it's taking a
actions need to be different, and I appreciate you letting me back here, and I love you so much, and I'm so grateful to be here.
All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for tuning in. And Topo Gigio. That name had to come up.
Gigio.
Topo Gigio! Oh, no,
Well, now you know,
did
right
not.
here in our
You did
show.
Jumped off
not.
the panel with the
Oh my
Andrew
gosh.
Siciliano on a string.
Oh, no, you did not.
Yeah, you did. We did that.
I love you.
All right. Bye-bye. Take care, everybody. And go Browns. Browns will win, by golly. They will win. And I'll see you again at halftime. Until then, hasta la vista.
And then Monday is the Peter Alice
Good night.
Oh.